If you're watching this video, then that now means that the RWBY Volume 3 main review is now up on the Collective Idiocy website. There is a link down in the description. Go watch that first, or watch this first, and then go compare that to the main review and see which one I did better, or whatever. Or just watch them together, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah. This is the follow-up video, kind of talking about the last two episodes, and any points I may want to revisit from the main thing. And I'm going to be reading off my notes here in front of the camera. Normally I don't like to do that, but this is kind of an unofficial, informal review, so I think you guys can forgive me. But Volume 3, it's really hard for me to explain exactly where my frustrations with this volume lie. On the surface, it's good. On the surface, if you don't think too hard about it, this season was nothing short of amazing. The problem is, when you start asking serious questions, that's when the whole thing kind of starts to fall apart. And that's kind of the theme with Miles and Kerry's writing through RWBY and RWBY. At first glance, it's great, but the minute you start asking any kind of questions is when it kind of really starts to lose its luster. Now, at the end of the main review, I said that they need to expand the limit again, like more episodes per season. Reason I say that, I'm not just saying this because I want more, although I do, but I'm saying this because they're not telling the story properly. They clearly want to tell a story, and I don't think they're properly doing it. We've spent 2 seasons now not having much of a plot when we should have gotten it like a season ago. You know, like, we should have started getting hints of the maidens and all that long before now. Like, we shouldn't have had it just thrown in one episode. Like, we should have gotten some kind of an idea before this. And honestly, the tournament probably should have been its own season. Like, the problem was they tried to fit 2 big arcs, the tournament and the maidens thing, into one 12-episode season. They basically tried to do the same thing that Sword Art Online did, by having 2 arcs in one season. And it didn't work well for SAO, and that had a full-length anime season of 25 episodes. Now, I know that it would mean that they would probably have to go on hiatus in order to really plan that out and make it work. And honestly, if they were going to go on hiatus, it probably should have been this year. I mean, this soon after Monty's death, they probably needed a lot more time to really make this work. There is a chance that they can stabilize it later on down the line with how they're doing it, but they really need to get organized. Like, Miles and Kerry have bragged in the past about how they've gotten, like, episode animation stuff down at the last possible minute. And in some ways, yes, that is impressive, but in other ways, most of the volume, if not all of the volume, should have already been in the can before they premiered the first episode. You know? Like, it shouldn't be like this, and it's... I just can't go over the fact that they keep bringing up these plot points and then not mentioning them later down the line, and the major plot points they bring up, there's so many questions. Like, why do the maidens rely on such an unreliable method for choosing their successors? Like, when you really think about it, the whole system is flirting with disaster. The fact that it took this long for evil powers to take hold of them is amazing. Like, this should have fallen to shit a long time ago. Honestly, if it was this easy to get the maiden's powers, how did it take this long, you know? But, alright, so enough about covering that. Let's talk about the last 2 episodes, starting with episode 11. The massive fight of episode 11 is good. However, where I come down on it is that there is way too much going on. I know the Volume 2 finale left a lot of people wanting more, but the problem with Volume 2 finale was not that there was too much going on. The problem was that it was over too quickly. Here, you've got RWBY's thing with Torchwick, you've got Glynda and Qrow, you've got Ozpin with Pyrrha and Jaune, you've got Cinder, Emerald, and Mercury, You've got Weiss, you've got Velvet, you've got all the other teammates doing their thing. And it's just a mess. There's just way too much going on to follow. Like, the only thing keeping it from being a Michael Bay Transformers movie is that I can clearly tell who is who. Aside from that, it's the same kind of thing. Like, it's like a mess. And then we come to Torchwick's final bow. I laughed because I called his death coming from the minute they broke him out of his cell. It wasn't really that hard to figure out because they did the exact same thing with RWBY 13 and the Counselor. They brought a character back just to kill him. And this one felt so totally... It wasn't even fitting or meaningful. It was just random, like a laugh in the face to Ruby's desperation. Like, I'm sorry, but I could have easily written a better way to kill him off that would have been more symbolic to the plot and also more symbolic to RWBY as a character. Like, I could think of at least 2 different scenarios that could easily have made that better and made it more worthwhile than just a cheap, send-off. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they could have had RWBY after like going through so much of seeing her friends die in front of her, going through emotional turmoil, and Roman herself, thus being symbolic to the plot and also to RWBY as her innocence is now gone because she has human blood on her hands. That would have been way better for this. I mean, yeah, it's more mature, but as they're really trying to push, it's, getting edgier, which I don't necessarily agree with how they're going about that, but I digress. Velvet's weapon. A lot of people were really excited about this. Like, they were really wanting to see... Like, they were really happy with how Velvet's weapon came out. But I walked away from that with much different feelings. Like, I thought that entire scene was actually really lackluster. Like, she has these crystals in the box that can turn into any weapon that she has seen, and she can copy any fighting style from any of her friends. How... I guess it has something to do with her camera, her love of photography that was just forced on last minute, it just felt like it was just tacked on as an afterthought. But it's just, honestly, the whole thing just felt like an excuse to reuse a lot of old animation from the original trailers. And it lacked a character for Velvet. It lacked a style for Velvet. It made her feel like she's just a carbon copy of everybody else. Like, there was nothing about that fight that felt particularly Velvet. It just felt like she was imitating everybody. And it just, I don't know, it made her lack any form of identity. Also, how would she have known about Penny's laser? Like, Penny only did it that one time in the Volume 1 finale. It doesn't make any sense for her to have used it there. Weiss's summoning... would have been a lot more meaningful if we had any indication that she had been working on it between episode 4 and now. You know what I mean? Like this is what I mean about the whole time thing. Like, there has been no mention of any summoning between episode 4 and episode 11. Like, a casual viewer probably would have forgotten about it, to be perfectly honest with you, for how little it has mattered. And for instance, how little Winter's appearance in this show has mattered. And it kind of goes with something I've been saying, in that Weiss has always gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to the RWBY girls and their characters. Like, it's, RWBY has, her, history or whatever, legacy or whatever, that she's going to have to go on. Blake has her history with the White Fang, Yang has her mother. Weiss is... Like, we don't focus on Weiss. We choose not to. We just focus on the fact that she's a bitch. That's what the show seems to be fixated on. And it's a nightmare, really. Like, I'm sorry. I'm so much of a better writer than them. I don't like to toot my horn here. I don't like to brag, but I could have written so much better. I really could have. I have written so much better. And it's just, and I'm not even published. Like, it's a mess. Okay, next thing. Qrow's scythe reveal I thought was really, really weak. And again, I don't understand why we had to deal with the broadsword bullshit. Like, honestly, I have seen Vic Mignogna turn into a better scythe than the one he wields right now. Obvious Soul Eater reference was obvious. By the way, did anybody else think that Qrow's scythe actually looks a lot like Soul's scythe form from Soul Eater? Like, you know, Maka's scythe? Like, honestly, I couldn't unsee it, really. Also, the entire design of his weapon seems completely impractical. And already I can hear people commenting, like, you're arguing about practicality in RWBY? Well, yeah, I am, because if one of those gears got clogged up, he would be fucked. Okay, that entire thing is a disaster waiting to happen. I'm sorry. Yang's disarmament. First of all, Adam is wow abusive. Like, holy shit. And this kind of goes back to what I said in the review. Like, I would be more impressed with how they've portrayed abuse in the show if I believed it was intentional instead of a happy accident. But I'm not convinced of that yet. I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like, this could not have been intentional, how they've done it. But Yang being disarmed, it was certainly shocking. I didn't see it coming. I'm always incredibly hesitant to dislimb people, though. Just because it's such a drastic character change. And if you're going to do it, you need to be damn sure that that's the road you want to take the character on, because there is no taking that decision back once you've done. It's going to be interesting character growth for her. I don't know if I would have done it personally, but I guess we'll just see how it goes and how she adapts to now only having a fake arm come up. Cinder's getting the Maiden's Power. Obviously that was going to happen. And I've heard some people's like, Jaune, you had one job. Really? What was Jaune Arc going to do against Cinderfall? Like, let's be honest here for a minute. Zwei the dog would have made a more intimidating guard than that boy and his sword. Like, what were you expecting from Jaune? Seriously. Which leads us to the finale. Honestly, I thought Ozpin was more than a match for Cinder. I don't know why he ran off, because he ain't dead. And this just further confirms my belief that Rooster Teeth cannot commit to killing off protagonists. Because Pyrrha disintegrating does not mean she's dead for good. I'm sorry. I only believe a protagonist is dead when I see a corpse. Like, Penny, I believe, is dead, because she's right there. We have her body. Torchwick got eaten. He's an antagonist. And yeah, he got eaten, and I can kind of believe that, because usually getting eaten, it's kind of hard to come back from that, unless you cut open the belly. And we don't know how the Grim digestive system works. The Maiden, I can believe she's dead because her body is in that thing. Pyrrha, why did she disintegrate? Like, what was the purpose of her disintegrating? I don't understand. It would have easily been more effective just to have her body in a coffin being lowered into the ground. That would have been way more heartbreaking, honestly, than her disintegrating. Because what her disintegrating tells me is that we're going to see her later on down the line. She's going to come back in some form, in some way. I will bet you $20 on that. But yeah, as predictable as it was that Pyrrha was going to die, I don't believe she's dead for good. Just from disintegrating, like, if magic really does exist in this world, they're gonna find some way to bring her back from that. I don't believe it. Like, if Cinder had absorbed it, then maybe, but that stuff was going the opposite way of where Cinder was standing. So, no, I don't buy it. Another point that I need to bring up, I am completely and utterly unimpressed with Cinderfall. She literally has the powers of a god, and I still think I could take her in a fair fight. Like, I am completely unimpressed with her fighting style and how she is managed against both Ozpin and Pyrrha. Pyrrha lost because of bullshit. She was easily the superior fighter in that match. Like, I'm sorry, but Cinder as a maiden, if that's the best she can do, then there is hope for humanity after all. Okay? Also, what is so bad about this dragon? I mean, yeah, okay, it's a fucking hellspawn, and it's shooting its dandruff down to form Grim, but, Like, is it like an old one? Like, what's the deal here? What makes this Grimm so different from others? Like, you don't really show much of it, to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't understand. Maybe it's supposed to be, like, for the final villain or something, but I don't know. And, of course, we get another legend that we probably should have gotten way before now with the whole Silver Eyes thing. Like, you have not mentioned the Silver Eyes since the pilot episode. And you're just bringing it up now, and apparently it's this big, like, legend thing. Like, what is it with us finally suddenly bringing up all these legends that we could have mentioned a volume and a half ago? Like, I'm sorry, but we've had zero hint of any of this. And, like, you gotta have some setup here. You know, like, I don't know. I'm not asking for too much, am I? Just, like, some kind of setup of the mythology of your world. That's not asking much, I don't think. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it just felt like, I don't know, there needs to be some kind of padding here. And that whole final encounter with Cinder was over way too fast. What happened to her? Did she escape? Like, did she get out of the ice because she can shoot fireballs out of her vagina now? Like, why is the dragon stuck but she's not? I don't get that. And where the fuck are Emerald and Mercury? Like, their boss was almost disintegrated, and they were nowhere in sight. Also, I gotta say, like, in regards to Emerald and Mercury, I think if any of them are gonna turn back to good, it's gonna be Emerald, just because of the remorse she seemed to show. But also, you gotta look at the two of them as characters. Like, Emerald was brought in off the street, hungry, tired, stealing to make a living, and like she was this broken character that was brought in and, you know, turned to a villain because she owed Cinder. That's the only reason that she does any of this, is because loyalty to Cinder. Mercury literally killed his own father. Like, we can see the differences here. Like, Mercury has blood on his hands. Emerald doesn't. Like, I think that's going to be the determining factor in which of the two is going to turn to good. Mercury is too far gone. Emerald is not. So I think Emerald's going to eventually maybe switch sides. Maybe. We'll see. Though, knowing how Miles and Kerry work with villains, I'm not really optimistic about that, because their villains tend to be incredibly one-sided. Like, they don't write villains very well. Like, either we have Cinder, whose motivation is by and large unknown, or like even when it is known, it seems kind of just she just wants to be a bitch. Or we have Felix and Locust, whose entire motivation could be summed up as kill everyone because evil. You know, like they don't do villains very well, is what I've learned here. Also, massive design flaw if one CCTV tower goes down that they all go down. That's a huge fucking design flaw. Whoever did that deserves to be skinned and their head put on a spike. Because that's a terrible idea. Like, I don't understand why they allowed that to happen. Like, what? Like, what if they had to bring a tower down for maintenance and it took like a month? They'd be fucked. But okay, I will give them credit, though. I will give them credit. I like that the team is split up now. You know, we got RWBY with the remains of Juniper going off to try and save the world. We've got Yang, bitter and disarmed, has to learn how to deal with a handicap. We have Weiss going back to Alice to deal with her overbearing family. And we have Blake doing something. I don't really understand what she's doing or why she left. Maybe she feels guilty, I guess. I don't know. It's still really no reason to just take off like that. But I like that they're separated right now because it gives them a chance to grow apart from each other, and grow as people, so that when they eventually get back together, they will be even stronger. And I think that's a good way to go about it. They need to learn they need to find themselves as adults on their own before they can do it as a team. I think it's the way to go. Maybe, and yeah, I'm not wrong on that. I think it's definitely the way to go. And the main villain, which apparently Jen Taylor is the main villain, like the major villain of the show, had got the first lines. I love, first of all, I love the fact that her monologue seems to pick up where the opening monologue of Volume 1 left off. I do enjoy that. Second of all, remember when I made that joke that the Virginia Madsen from Dune opening? Apparently, my joke wasn't that far off the grid because she looks like a character that came out of Dune. Like, did anybody else notice that? Like, I didn't plan that. That was just a joke that I threw in there. Like, I thought it was just a funny little thing to say, to open up with. But she literally looks like she came out of Dune. It's hilarious. Like, I called that 2 years early. I don't know. Maybe I'm just good like that. Then again, I predicted a lot of what's going to happen. So that's not really... Maybe the show is just too predictable for me. I don't know. But I like the idea of this villain. I've always said from the beginning that there is no way Cinder is the real big bad. She just doesn't look the type to be a big bad. This woman looks like the big bad. And she looks ancient, she looks powerful, and she looks like she can fuck a lot of things up. I don't know how old Ozpin is, but maybe someday he's the wizard from the main tale. I think maybe he's something a lot older and a lot more powerful. Because clearly this is something there is a long and bitter history between these two, and I'm curious to see what it is. And I think it's something bigger than the Maiden's Tale. But I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. And I am really looking forward to seeing more of this villain. But yeah, that's the finale, really. Before we close off, I guess because I've been kind of negative about RWBY 3, I should talk about some things that I liked about this volume. Just to kind of balance it out a little bit. I like the fact that we finally got into the plot and started introducing the real plot, even though they should have done it a lot more and they really could have specified on a lot of things. I like that it's finally there. The character moments between, individual characters and also between, partners, the thing with Yang and Blake in their room after the mishap with Yang and Mercury, the scenes between Jaune and Pyrrha, those little character moments that Miles and Kerry have really always done best, as usual, are beautiful, and I love them. So takeaway from that, as bad as the plot can be at times, they can do character moments really well. The soundtrack is really, really damn good. Volume 2 is my favorite soundtrack, but this might top it, and I cannot wait for it to finally go public so that I can just listen to it 50 times in a row. I'm really excited to hear this soundtrack. And I know I said the animation was clunky, but the fights are definitely a lot meatier this volume. They feel like they have a lot more weight, and the show does show a lot more of consequence, even if I don't know those consequences are lasting, I feel like there are some things that we can easily still recover from here. But those are the positives I take away from RWBY Volume 3. Yeah, basically. But the major question I think everybody is asking, whether intentionally or unintentionally, they're going to ask it no matter what, so I might as well get it out there now, and then hopefully people will just take that and leave it. Would this season have been better or worse with Monty? Honestly, I think it would have been exactly the same. In fact, I know it would have been exactly the same. Whether he was still with us or not, this was the story that was always going to happen. So I don't think there would have been any major changes. I don't think the writing would have been better or worse. I think everything would have been exactly the same whether he was still here or not. So take comfort of that however you can, if you can, but that's where I stand on it. But yeah, that's Volume 3. Just felt like covering those last things. Again, I can be forgiving on a show if it's only 1 or 2 seasons in because it's still growing its wings. But by Season 3, I expect you to be standing on your own. And I'm not going to coddle you anymore. Once you hit the 3rd season, that's my cutoff for how much leeway I'm willing to give a show. Because at this point now, you have your base, you've defined what you are, and you should be able to stand for it. You should be able to, fly on your own merit. So, for people who think I've been too easy on the show, here we go. Because from here on in, I'm not gonna, offer this thing a pacifier to pacify it anymore. I'm gonna be completely 100% honest and upfront if it's not good, and not be like, oh, but it's still growing. No, by now you should be able to work without me having to say that. You know what I mean? Maybe some people think that's too forgiving, but I think 3 seasons is the perfect point for me to start treating you like an adult and not a child. But yeah, there you go. This might be a short vlog review, but considering that the main RWBY 3 review is probably the longest Archie review I've ever done, it might actually be fitting that this is shorter. But that's that. I'll see you guys next review, whichever that is. And yeah. Have a good one, guys. Let me know how you thought about Volume 3. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.